Hello to everybody. I'm Anita Ratnam. It's a brand new month. Welcome to Anita Says, a monthly overview and commentary of what I have seen, observed, and experienced about the fascinating world of Indian dance. Now, I'm sitting in the cozy recording room of DigiSound Studios in Chennai. Now, it's owned and managed by L. Baba Prasad, the son of my wonderful guru, the late Padma Shri Adyar K. Lakshman. Baba produces my podcast, but he's also the first person who listens. Having grown up in the world of Bharatanatyam and Indian dance, he is as keen a listener as I'm sure many of you are. So here goes. What? March already? 2 months of this year have just flown by, and I was so glad to have an extra day in February to just gather my thoughts after relentless and non-stop travel. So let me begin with 2 quotes. First, by American writer John Steinbeck, who says, "To be alive at all is to have scars." And the second, by French novelist Le Petit Prince Antoine Saint-Exupéry. "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." I have to begin with something very unexpected that occurred just 2 days before February ended. An event that I was most unprepared for. Just 2 days before February closed, I had the unique opportunity to be in the presence of one of India's most charismatic politicians. The extraordinary security checks, the fastidious search of everyone's social media handles, the minute-by-minute instructions of where to stand, how much physical distance that was to be maintained, and what to say felt like a complex handbook of rules. Surrounded as I was by business professionals who were speaking finance, economics, profitability, and employment, I was the sole artist in this private meeting. The term Viksit Bharat was being chanted ever so often during the speeches that followed. And I was left wondering about the most developed form of expression of this very idea that the Indian performing arts contained. The most evolved and yet the least supported. Viksit means developed. And while there is so much political emphasis today on a developed India, education, medicine, space, technology, and manufacturing, it is in the arts, the classical arts, that India is truly Viksit. Yet, the needle has shifted and the mood is stubbornly tilted towards popular culture and the visual spectacle. Moving on. What does the idea of creativity really mean? It can be many things to many people. During the difficult times of global turmoil, artistic expressions through writing, poetry, painting, music, dance, fashion, and cinema were some of the ways in which people were emotionally sustained and felt alive again. To create is to live, said French fashion designer Christian Dior, whose sister Catherine resisted the Nazi occupation of Paris and in whose honor the Miss Dior label was created. Through the misery and paranoia of those times, it was Dior's beautiful gowns for lavish German parties that kept food on his table and made him feeling useful. It is often through intense experiences of trauma and pain that the most evocative forms of artistic expressions have arisen, like a dandelion growing through the unforgiving cracks of concrete. Dance and music have always sustained tortured bodies and souls, and given a new lease of life to the elderly. In a charming 2022 French-Israeli film called Last Dance that I watched on my international flight back home, a family is ready to put their 75-year-old father into senior care. Beautifully portrayed by actor François Berliand, the character of Germain, a widower, finds himself in a contemporary dance company. His wife, who was the dancer, dies suddenly of a heart attack, and he wishes to fulfill her desire and fill her place. Keeping it a secret and hiding his rehearsals from the invasive anxiety of his family, the character, guided by an empathetic choreographer finds himself in the center of a whole new world of creativity. This film is a must-see for anyone wanting to write off our seniors and to brush aside the positive effects of dance on the body and brain. There is also a Korean film called Navilera, the Butterfly, where the main character is suffering from early onset of Parkinson's. He goes to ballet class and realizes his dream of performing a small role in a ballet. My time in Northern California further convinced me of this. Watching a group of whip-smart techie women in a Bharatanatyam class was an eye-opener. For so long, many of us have been commenting on the overcrowded dance and music scene in the Bay Area. I have wondered why the generous, some can say gullible, students pay hefty fees to the visiting artists who run their entire economies and annual lifestyles from the 2 or 3 months they spend in the USA. No other diaspora community has extended such sustained and significant financial support to the classical performers from India. My information is concentrated on the Bharatanatyam experience, but I'm sure that other Indian dance forms are equally popular in several cities across the US of A. Not every student of Bharatanatyam is aiming to perform. Many find the comfort of a dance class like a healing balm, a space to not just learn but also to be part of a safe community and to temporarily forget the furious pace of their professional lives. To be a techie in Silicon Valley is glamorous only from the outside. The demands of a daily routine are brutal, and it is no wonder that many young women take great pains to attend or log into their dance sessions, if only to calm themselves and center their minds. As I listened to each story and asked them why they looked forward to Bharatanatyam classes, every response returned like a chorus. They felt comfort, friendship, sorority, and a sanctuary. Their grit and determination to attend the sessions was admirable. I felt heartened that dance provided these young women with the necessary emotional tools to face their futures. It was not necessary to tell them about dance history, identity issues, or other theories that swirl around the practice. It was enough for them to just dance, move, enjoy each other's company, exchange stories, and laugh. What greater example of mental health and overall wellness can there be for dance? It is precisely this atmosphere that is most conducive to item teaching and composition learning. One weekend, dollars spent, a couple of new dance pieces learned, an interaction with a renowned performer teacher from India, and it's done. Bay Area students and others feel energized with these brief interactions. There is no mind space or bandwidth to engage in process and exploration. Their daily to-do list is endless. The business model is clear for the visiting teachers. Fly in, teach, pocket the money, fly out. And why not? You're listening to Anita Says, a monthly podcast of my views and commentary on the global world of India's dance tradition, and I'm Anita Ratnam. Among the bright spots of my brief visit to the Bay Area was to meet and work with musician and composer Asha Ramesh. As Asha Ramaswamy, she accompanied my early performances with my sister Preeta in Chennai before marriage took her to the USA. Our conversations, recorded in a podcast, touched upon the wonderful opportunities she discovered in collaborating with various genres of music and working with her son Rohit on new music albums. With the annual Arangetram season approaching in America, Asha spoke about how it was crucial for dance musicians, especially vocalists, to stop looking at their notes and iPads and watch the dancer in movement. Only then, she says, can the true bhava emerge from the music. We explored some Carnatic ragams like Bhairavi, Todi and Kalyani, and I enjoyed her approach to giving depth and a varied nuance to the traditional compositions. Meanwhile, the Bay Area Bank of Mylapore is open for the season. Indian dancers and musicians, pack your bags, head to Northern California. Money, students and endless invitations are flowing. Bharatanatyam dancer Shanmuga Sundar, who completed a successful performance in Mumbai with his transgender students, is showing the way of practicing inclusivity in action. In the annual Chennai festival, to honor the memory of his late Guru K.J. Sarasa, Shanmugam featured several hereditary artists with only one dominant caste performer. This is the kind of action on the ground that we need, a willingness to work with and invite collaborations across identities. The recent grandstanding, especially during the December Natyakala conference of diaspora dance academics spouting jargon, is pointless. These very same individuals theorize endlessly into an echo chamber with no, quote, skin in the game, as the Americans say. Shoehorning your way into prominence by wailing, blaming, and complaining is also not a lasting formula. The danger of the single story, the viral TED Talk by Nigerian writer Adichie, is a stark reminder that every story has multiple strands. One group of people cannot lay claim to the truth and claim the only experience. Let's continue our talk of money. The fee structures for live performances in India needs to be looked at. Most dancers are paid once for their stage performances. Organizers now argue that the same performance needs to be live streamed with a secondary income generation to, quote, cover costs. Then what about the dancers and the dance company? Are they not entitled to receive part of the remuneration for the digital streaming? Why must the organizers alone worry about not losing money when dance performances routinely occupy the negative financial zone? I'm in full support for those dancers who are exploring additional revenue streams via Instagram. This one platform has emerged as a viable alternative to the perennial poverty mentality that has plagued Indian dance for far too long. Everyone around the dancers makes a decent living through the art form. The dancer is the last person to see a profit. The flurry of excitement and opinion over the recent Air India safety video continues. Featuring several classical dance forms of India, this video has gone viral, with many in huge appreciation and some who differ. Several dance forms have been featured, with dancers in traditional costumes executing the safety checks. The comments on Nartaki's Facebook and Instagram handles are alive with opinion. You're listening to Anita Says, a monthly podcast on opinions and views about Indian dance, and I'm Anita Ratnam. This year, Women's Day and Mahashivaratri converge, March 8th. While devotees fast, meditate, and chant through the night, women around the world will mark this day that was first observed in 1910. It was in 1908 that overworked women in the needle and textile industry in New York took to the streets to protest inhuman labor laws. Over a century later, we can take immense pride in the progress that has been made, but more has to happen. And violence against women needs to stop. The very idea of who is a woman has changed, and assumptions cannot be made, as identity politics must grow to include everyone who embraces the feminine aspect of themselves. I am looking forward to sharing my thoughts on the women's movement and navigating the cross-currents of Indian dance at audiences in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia this week. At a high-profile panel featuring women arts pioneers, I share the platform with some of Asia's finest creative minds. Congratulations for the fresh new set of awardees from the Sangeet Natak Academy. India's apex cultural body has announced this year's list of awardees in the performing arts. There are so many deserving names, and there's much to feel joyous about. I was particularly happy to see that Bharat Sharma, the son of contemporary dance legend Narendra Sharma, has finally been selected for an honor that was long overdue. This category of creative and contemporary dance has been treated like an orphan in the recent past, and it was heartening to see an artist who has worked tirelessly in this space for decades finally receive a national recognition. As we enter our 25th year online in April, Nartaki extends a global hug to our readers and followers. As the world blurs in hyperspeed and overall reading declines, we cherish your loyalty and affection. As among the very few spaces that is open to engagement and commentary, we hope to continue reflecting some of the shifts and tilts in the world of India's dance arts in the coming months. It's springtime. Cast away those woolens and welcome the sunshine on your faces. Keep that bounce in your step and laughter in your soul. And don't forget to connect and subscribe to our podcasts on Spotify and Apple. Do follow our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram. There is much to engage with and celebrate. Until next time, I say farewell along with my colleague L. Baba Prasad in his Digi Sound recording studios in Chennai. Have fun, everyone. Keep dance and laughter in your lives.